So we're going to have 4 parts today, and the first part is imagery and notation concepts. So the slide you can see on the wall there, on the PowerPoint, that's what William played in the first cadenza that Chris just played. And we'll talk a bit more about that a little bit later. But imagery plays an important part of the concept of creating the soundscape. And as a composer, we must ask ourselves the question, what do we want to convey? And also, how do we want to convey it? There are 2 main types of didgeridoo players. And one of the types of didgeridoo player reads Western notation, and the other one doesn't. And they're both equally as valid, and we have to put across our point of writing the music by collaborating and saying, how do we want this to work? Luckily, Chris does both here. So, imagery. Some performers read Western style notation, as I said, and it can be helpful to write rhythms, cues, or rhythmic patterns. These will be best used if the player has freedom to add their personal touch to the music, and you'll have greater collaboration. So we're going to get Chris to provide a few examples, but simple markings on the score can suffice. You can say you want it to be mysterious, spooky, jagged rhythms, howling, crying, fearful, all sorts of things can we have. There's also singing against the drone, which we will talk about, and then there's the common sounds of kookaburras and brolgas dancing and crocodiles and all sorts of things that we can look at. So we might get Chris. Chris, would you like to give us something a bit mysterious?
Absolutely.
Okay, what about a kangaroo hopping? Okay, what about a howling wind? Does anyone in the audience have any imagery that they'd like Chris to see if he can perhaps tell you what it is? Anyone? Just pull your mask down a bit. Come on, Ray, you've got one.
What about watery?
Watery. All right, excellent. So, Chris, can you just explain what singing against the drone means?
Yeah, absolutely. So the main sound that you're going to hear on a didgeridoo is the sound of the drone, which is essentially the sound of your lips buzzing and vibrating and reverberating through the length of the didgeridoo. So that's the first sound, the drone. And then on top of the drone, we're using tongue techniques, but as Sean was mentioning, we've got vocal techniques, and that's going to give us a wide palette of different sounds and textures. And yeah, it sounds a little like this. Actually, a lot of the animal noises that we do are incorporating the vocal technique on top of the drone. So some of the more common animals that we will play on the didgeridoo is the sound, for instance, of the dingo, which is a wild dog in Australia. And then we've got the kookaburra. there's a whole host of other bird noises and animal noises that we're incorporating that vocalization technique on top of the drone.
Thank you, Chris. So, extreme didgeridoo notation. This is for people like Chris who can read any type of music. There's a musicologist in the USA, Dr. Hal Kosenek, who transcribed William's entire didgeridoo part for the didgeridoo concerto, because William had improvised it, listened to the orchestra, worked with his rhythms and the things that we had done, and then he improvised his part. Why did Hal write this out? And why did Hal invent a notation for it? It's because he actually played the US premiere of the work, and he wanted to be as accurate as possible. So he invented something that looked like this. So as we can see on the board, that's the first cadenza, and there are the syllables and the approximate pitches that William had played. And so I've got a little bit of an example from it. It starts a couple of bars before the cadenza. So that was a little bit of the transcription. And is it fair to say, Chris, that if someone gave you a piece of music like that and said, "This is what I want you to play," would that be appropriate, or would it be a collaboration?
It certainly, has its challenges, and I would probably put it in the basket of a collaboration for sure.
Okay. So now I'd like to call upon the group, the Southern Cross Soloists, to play for us another movement from the concerto called Wind.